on doing what is not right. They're intent on continuing to oppress you and me and the people of Dominica. And that's what it is. This government is the most oppressive, the most evil, the most wicked government that I've seen anywhere in the world. I've been to several countries. This government, you know, we talk about African countries and their corruption. But for a little 30 by 15 mile country, the level of corruption in this country is nasty. It makes you want to vomit. That's how bad it is. This government is determined to keep it down just because a few individuals are doing well. Persons who understand, persons who could hardly afford a suit 24 years ago, now have millions stacked away in foreign bank accounts, and they turn around and give the elderly of Dominica $300 and say, that's enough for you. $300, but the average grocery basket is probably $500 for two family home in Dominica. You think that is right? You think we should be accepting that, Dominica? You think we should keep taking that from this government? But there is a way to change it. And the way we are going to change it is through the elections. But we can only do that through the elections if we are on a level playing field. Because all they have been doing, they are not making promises, they are not campaigning, they are not doing any of that. They are not rebuilding the Dallas Road. Since so many years this road has been destroyed, they have not even bothered to fix it. I did a video about our health center in Granford. The health center has been destroyed, it's not been fixed, and you go to a health center, you're talking to the nurse about your problem, and people just like they're hearing everything. No privacy. No, you go to the hospital, and I tell you, when you go to the hospital, it's like you play the Russian roulette, you know. Saki shape shape. That's what it is. That's how it is now in this hospital. Saki shape shape. You go in there and you at your own risk. I saw a friend of mine from Granford who was there for 2 weeks. I rushed up on my week and hugged this man. I said, man, you made it. God bless you. You made it out of there alive. I mean, this is not a laughing matter. This is serious. We have a health system that is completely terrible. Totally terrible. And people are going there and they're dying. They're not getting help. You don't have the basic medication in there to take care. And even when the family members buy the medication for the family members, it has to be shared with others in the ward. What kind of country is that? Okay. When 30 years ago, we were the envy of the Caribbean already with our health system. People were coming to Dominica. Just today, I learned about the support that the St. Lucia government is giving to its people. They are building what they call a sovereign wealth fund, which means that they're taking money that they're making now and investing that money. In other words, they're opening a savings account for the people of St. Lucia, so that they can take care as they go. All social security and so on they can be sure that there will be social security. In Dominica today, do you know, the retirement age is 60. So they're forcing you to retire. One guy tell me he has to retire. He's 58. They already sent him a letter who reminded him that he has to retire when he gets to 60. You retire at 60, social security kicks in at 65. So what are you supposed to do within those 5 years? What are you supposed to do? That is the country that we have today, and that is what we are trying to fix. That is what we are saying. We cannot continue. And the people who come down to vote, and I'm speaking to you, hopefully you're looking tonight, none of that impacts you. Because you fall sick, you call 911, you go in a comfort, private room, you get all the treatment that you get. If you don't have money, you get the government help through Medicaid or Medicare, they take care of you. But in Dominica, share a little. If you don't have money, because there is no insurance, there is no health insurance, there is no scheme for the people, no welfare like there is in St. Lucia and other countries to take care of the people. And the only thing this government can boast of after 24 years in office is a few apartments looking pretty, these buildings are not even 5-6 years. They're rotten. They're rotten, and some of them are not even health. They should have some health inspections for some of these. I suspect they're not even good places to live in. So after 25 years, that is the record of this government, you know. A few rotten apartments that does not even belong to the people that live in them. Sasekai government, when every other government in this country has ensured that the people get possession of their houses. They get ownership to those houses. They make it look like they're the first government to build houses. They're the first one to do it that way, to have this model. And they're using that because they want to keep dangling this vote. So this poor lady is afraid to lose the vote, so she will not come and even listen tonight. Because she has an apartment. And she suspects that if she were to come to listen to it at the Workers' Party, that might be taken away from her. Is that what we should believe in Dominica? Is that what we deserve, Dominica? And why? Remember I asked you the question earlier. Why is this Prime Minister so intent on staying in office? He's not looking for the people of Dominica. He's a détruit agriculture. Dupani Bana, Dupani Ayen. He's destroyed that completely. Taken away food from the mouths of the people, some of whom still voted. And I wonder how you can vote a government that has taken away food from your mouth. And as my good friend Blessed would say, break your 2 legs and giving you a crutch and now. Express that's it. Okay. But it's used very often, you know, and then giving you some little feed. You know, that is where we are in Dominica, people, and that's why we have to continue to fight for electoral reform. A very incompetent government. We have to support 18 ministers, making an average of $10,000 a month, where the average worker that supports them making $1,500 a month. I've never seen more absurdity. But I've never seen, well, that's what it is, abuse and comments, because, you know, the people that support you have not been paid, have not been given good salaries. So when next time we go to government office and the clerk is not taking you on, don't be too hard on her. Because there's no motivation to work. No, absolutely no motivation to work. I mean, if I was making the same amount today than I was making 10 years ago, when everything has gone up by a few 100% or even more, how could I work? How could I function? And I must say kudos to our teachers and our nurses. Some of them have not been appointed for over 10 years, 15 years, no appointments. Yet they continue to fight, they continue to give their best. So kudos to our people. And even as I close tonight and as we face the courts, I just want to say one thing about that again. The government is finding time to have and to waste the court's time on decent, upstanding citizens. Yet there are people on remand at the prison. I'm told they were stuck for 8 years. Imagine 8 years you're languishing in a prison, have not been brought to trial. So what if you're found innocent after those 8 years? Who is going to give you back those 8 years? That cannot be justice. But yet they find time to go after their political opponents. There's lots of time. Any day is available. But the people that are languishing on remand at the state prison cannot get their day in court. So that's why we have to fight, ladies and gentlemen. And I keep saying, this is a struggle that we must continue to wage, and it's a fight that we must win. This is about our future. This is about the future of Dominica. This is about restoring good governance to Dominica. This is about ensuring that we can build a middle class. We can build up the people of Dominica. This is about ensuring that we restore agriculture to its former glory. This is about ensuring that our young people stay in Dominica to develop Dominica and stop giving their youth to countries in the region. This is about ensuring that our elderly people can live their last years in dignity without having to fret over $300 a month from this government. This is about ensuring that we bring change to our country, that we develop this beautiful country of ours. We build roads, we build schools, we develop the country as was done within those 5 years of the United Workers' Party. The building of roads, opening up of new roads, building new schools, building up the agriculture sector, hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into the country. That is what this is all about. We have lost our way because this government has developed a model, a formula to steal. But we are saying that enough is enough. We have had enough, we are fed up, and when the legislation, again, I'm making an appeal to you, when the legislation comes up for Parliament, let us all go and send a clear message to this government. Let us meet outside. If I go to you between now and Parliament, I will see you at Parliament, wherever it is. It may be in February, it may be in March, but whenever it is called, be sure to be there in your numbers. That's the only message this government is going to understand. When we show that we are serious about getting this electoral reform. We will not accept this bloated voters list. We will not accept a reconfirmation. We want the government to throw this list away. In fact, I went to our office and I saw a pile that high. They sent the list for December to the office. It's about that high. When I look at the end, 73,280,000 still on that list. I'm like, what an insult. I'm going to ask that we just put it back and send it back to them. Because we don't want to see that list again. 65 or so thousand people in Dominica, and you still have a list, final voters list of 73 to over 73,000. This is wrong. And so we want to start fresh. We are demanding re-registration. Where we start fresh, everybody go back and register, re-register in your constituency, and when that process is done, within 3 to 4 months, we can have elections. But no elections during that process. And we have to insist on this. We must insist on this. And let us not accept anything less. And I'm only dwelling on the voters list because that is at the heart of the things. All of the mischief, all of the cheating that is carried out is because of this bloated voters list. And that is why we take an aim at it. If we don't get that right, we will not get good electoral reform. So let us go out, let us stand strong, and let us continue to send a very strong message to this government that enough is enough, and we are prepared to take our country back. Dominica, we are relying on you to join us. We are prepared to lead, but we must be prepared to join us, to move forward, to ensure that we take our country back. Enough is enough, man. We just tired. I mean, we are past tired. fed up seeing these newly minted millionaires take their foot on Dominicans, oppress our people, take away our livelihoods from us, and move around like they're big box here. Now, enough is enough. Let's send these guys a very strong message that it is over for them. And as during the time of slavery, they would tell the master man, your time is done. The time of this government is done. And we will ensure that this happens. So thank you for your patience, thank you for listening, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fountain. Well, we got a lot of things to think about. We've all heard. We get a good idea what's happening. We should be able to understand the depth and the level of corruption, of abuse, of lying, of deceit. I keep using this word, integrity, dishonesty. We've heard a lot about that. So now, what are we going to do? Because one hand cannot clap. They could have had and do all that they do, but if we did not participate as a people, a Dominican people, they would never be successful. So it's you who are listening, the overseas voters, those of us on the ground who are afraid or who have fallen in the trap of the lies, we have to stand up and say something about what are we doing, because you will be held responsible for your actions and your behavior. Your children are watching you. Our parents left a legacy for us. They toiled and they built this country for us. In every aspect or every sector of this country has been affected by the dishonesty we've allowed. And we keep wondering, why can't we get the law to work for us? Now, when you look at there are 5 pillars that should, 4 or 5 pillars in this country that's supposed to uphold the Constitution. That's the office of the President, that is the police commissioner, you have the judges, and Mr. Ronald Charles. Yeah, you have the police commissioner, I said that. You have the electoral commissioner. This is where that holds the Constitution. These are the office that hold the Constitution together. And because these people, those that are manning the seat, have allowed it to go to the dogs. We're going to put it that way. Disrespect and disregard the Constitution. So everything now, you can hear the sad story. Are there any man in this setting who have not gotten a request for assistance from anybody, especially at Montana? Your phone haven't been lighting up? Or the fellas, or the women that's come after them and call you for, I have a bill to pay, a rent to pay, I have medical bills to pay. No, in there. Where's all you could be? Because this is the game now that is being played. Mothers, women. This is where we are, because we have been brought into a place where we cannot afford for ourselves. So what we do now, I will call it like something similar. Social prostitution. Social prostitution. Because we keep going and we don't know, because I become vulnerable. If I come to you and ask you for money, I make myself vulnerable. We at one time can pay our bill my way, one way, and we do our thing. Not true? My way, our way. Okay. So on that note, I just give you a little thing. So we have to ask a few questions. And I want to ask the head table a question, please. We are part of the Commonwealth. We are part of the OECS. We are part of the CARICOM. You said that, Mr. Fountain, you said that all the other Caribbean countries, especially in the OECS, they have given their people electoral reform without them even asking for it, without even paying for it. What is the OECS position on Dominica's situation? What is the CARICOM position? I saw the chairman of the CARICOM, Mia Motley. She, in a New Year's speech, did a beautiful speech. She mentioned all the ills that is happening around the world, Haiti, Afghanistan, Tupatu. But she never mentioned Dominica's situation. We are asking for electoral reform. Why isn't it CARICOM and OECS speaking out on our behalf? We are part of it.
Okay, thanks. That's a very good question. You know, we have written to CARICOM, we have written to the OECS, we've made them aware of our position. Yeah, it's almost like an old boys club. These governments, they have thrown their support behind whoever is in office. I remember in 2014, was myself, Mr. Linton, and at the time Joseph Isaac, we traveled all the way to Guyana to be able to access CARICOM to present our case. And when we arrived that morning at the venue, they had put police officers to ensure that we did not gain access. They made sure that we never got close to the leaders because our Prime Minister made a call to, at the time it was Granja in Guyana, said you have the opposition leader and two other people come in, make sure they don't get anywhere close. And they acted. The police officers intercepted us. They never got a chance to make our case before CARICOM. We saw what happened with Mia Motley and the RSS bringing people to shoot Dominicans on the eve of an election. Anywhere in the world, that would be enough to disqualify the results of those elections. Because you put the people under duress, people got shot, people got tear gassed by police officers from Jamaica, from Barbados, and so on. So that's where we are. It's unfortunate, we just have to keep pushing, just have to keep pushing and pushing. But at the end of the day, let us not wait for a white knight. Let us not wait for CARICOM or the US or anyone to help us. We can do it ourselves. We can do it. The power is in the people. We have the power, you know. The power is in CARICOM, the power is in OECS, the power is in Mia Motley. We don't need any of them to help us out of our mess. I believe we can do it, but we have to unite. We have to be together. When the call comes to come out on the road, you have to come out. When the call comes for protest, you have to come out and protest in your numbers. That is what we have to do. And don't be afraid of this Minister of National Security booming on the radio saying, oh, if you come. No, this is our right. The same rights we exercised in 2017 when we were calling for Skerry to go. If the Inspector of Water has gotten us, we will continue to push. We will continue to push. So I just wanted to indicate that no help is going to come from CARICOM. No help is going to come from the OECS. We have to take that. We have basically take what they say, take the bull by the horns. We have to jump on this bull and control it ourselves. And we have the power to do it, and the ability to do it, and the means to do it. Thank you.
So in other words, we are on our own. When you're fighting for righteousness and justice, you have to be ready to be on your own, because everybody will not be with you. As a matter of fact, they'll attack you. Anybody has any question that they wish to ask? Come.
Good evening, everyone. I heard the minister spoke about the family, and he was saying like our we're not exporting, but we were importing in our country. And in time of before, I knew we used to make our own bananas, sell our own bananas in the time of the United Youth Party. And we used to be bringing that Oxford, buying all and everything. And now, people can hardly sell because we don't know Oxfords. We planting, we cannot sell it. So I want to know marketing for our crops. I want to know what is going on.
Okay, well, you've identified the problem. This government has destroyed agriculture, and I cannot understand why agriculture communities in particular would ever vote for a government that is taking money out of the mouths, preventing them from feeding their families. That is what it's all about, you know. We have moved from hundreds of millions of dollars in exports to about $5 million last year. This government should not be seen the light of day in a country like Dominica. What we are blessed with is our land, our agricultural lands, and our water. So you've seen the suffering of the villages, and that's why I say we can do this, Dominica. We can do this, and we must do this, if not for ourselves, but for our children, and our children's children, and the future generations in this country. We cannot allow this country to continue to go as it is going right now. It's a great time for us to act, and the time for us to act is now.
You remember what was said about agriculture, bananas, and so on, and diversification of the economy and so on, and the emphasis that we were going to place on tourism to help the economy to grow? Well, they've abandoned agriculture, but tourism has gone nowhere fast. In terms, for example, of cruise tourism, we had a bigger cruise tourism product than St. Kitts when this government took office in 2000. We were receiving more passengers than St. Kitts. You know what is the story today? 2023, 2024. The amount of money that cruise lines are spending in St. Kitts a year was $113 million in 2023, 2024. Compared to $20 million for Dominica. The amount of employment that the cruise sector was supporting in St. Kitts was 1,700 employees. Dominica was less than 500. The wage bill, the cruise sector was paying young people $19.5 million US. In St. Kitts, in 2023, 2024, Dominica was $4.2 million.
And they both still, you know.
And they tell you, there is nowhere else that things could be better. McIntyre said it's the best place to be anywhere in the Caribbean. So they keep telling you that what you're experiencing is not really what you're experiencing, is something else. And they can only do that when they feel there are no consequences to them saying that. They are there. They will remain there because they have captured the electoral process. They have taken control of it, and there is nothing that the people can do about that. The people now have to respond. And like I say, this man has set himself up against the people of Dominica. He has set up a struggle. Roosevelt's carrot versus the people of Dominica. And it is time for the people of Dominica to respond, and to respond in a massive way.
That's right.
So I will hear tonight.
That's right.
Well, there was one thing. Mia Mockley was here, She took money from the Electoral Commission to advise the Electoral Commission on implementation of ID cards for voting. She was paid. Down before she was Prime Minister with all the seats in the Parliament in Barbados. And Alec Lawrence trashed her report and said we will have none of it. So we paid Mia Mockley for consultancy, she advised. Alec Lawrence and the Electoral Commission threw it in the garbage bin. Mia Mockley report. Then she came back and she sent troops to take us sleeping people in Salisbury. All that will be part of her legacy.
Wow. You see the dishonesty. You see the abuse that we have to suffer as a people. But I know we are strong people. And we are better people. And we will off. Because even those that are poto, it has cool boy in the poto. It has cool boy in the poto. You understand? So they are suffering even worse than I. Because many of, at least I know I don't have nothing coming nowhere, but if I have to go do it for myself. This afternoon, he said, young baba, I was going to dig, you know. And then you reminded me, I was so shocked. I said, I'll go and dig my baba away. I have a thing full of dry coconuts to make coconut oil. You see, I have something, but many still don't because they are packed in an apartment building that is rotting, that is unhygienic, that is rotting, that weed, stuff, salty, water coming from the roof. How could you allow somebody who is governing your affair, have your monies, put you like that, and you say absolutely nothing, and you are afraid. You are afraid to stand up and say, I say so. And if you have 0 multiplied by 9,200 million, it's still 0. What are you going to tell your children? The abuse sexually, we are not even talking about the social ill as a result of the corruption, of the abuse. We are not even talking about the social ills sexually of our children, our young girls and boys. Are you thinking God was to look at Dominica right now and just watch us and beat us up? Are you thinking it's a joke? You think it's just about election? This is not just about being in power. There's a ramification on our spirit and all of this nonsense. People wake up. God only know and God will hold all of us responsible. All of us. Wake up. Priscilla. Wake up. Wake up.
Good night, everybody. Yes. Honestly, I don't have a question. I have an admonition for you, for the Dominicans, for the diasporas who are looking at us. The Word of God says that righteousness exalts a nation. But you know what sin does? It brings reproach. You know what it is to reproach somebody? None of us want to be. You don't want to be in that place where God will turn back and your children will turn back and say, you saw it happen. You watched it happen. You did nothing. You were participating. I want to call on you as individuals, individual Dominicans, to recognize that our country is in a dire need of positive action on you and my part. It is obvious that our leaders have forgotten us. It's obvious. I listen to all the stories here tonight, and my heart is just so heavy. I look at most of you who are here. Most of you are in your 60s, your 50s, your 80s. We don't have young people. Even your 70s. And you are seeing the ears, you are listening. But we need this message to meet our young people. We need our young people to know what is going on. We need to turn the direction that our young people are going from zero to recognizing that we have a problem and I can take action to fix it. Now here's the action. 1, and we heard it from the head table. When you are called upon to stand for what is right. Now notice I am not telling you to go and stand for UWP, for standing for what is right. You know what is right? Fearless. We heard about justice. We heard about the injustice and the corruption. In the eyes of God, these things, they smell. That is why we are experiencing the reproach that we are experiencing. Because the sins of the people and the leaders have gone up before God. That's what has happened. And God is calling us to stand up and say, we have had enough. We have lost enough. We need to stand for what is right. And the first thing you need to do is to stand for Dominica. You cannot have an election with 70-something people on a voters list, and we don't have 60,000. This does not send a correct message. Every child knows it's not possible, that can't happen. Where did these numbers come from? So that is unfair. And I have taught all my life, as a teacher, as a pastor, that unfairness before God is reproachable. And that's one of the things we're going to have to stand for, what is right. This is not about a party. This is not about politics. It's about my daily bread. My ability to live in a country and work and enjoy life. That's what it is.
Sure.
And so I want to admonish you. I want to call upon you tonight to take that first step. To stand up and be an ambassador. You don't have to have a particular passport for you to be an ambassador. No. You are a representative of God. You are a representative of Dominica. You are a representative of the truth. And I admonish you to stand for the truth. Take that truth. Go back to your homes. Go back to your villages. And champion the cause for what is right. If it is wrong, say it is wrong. We need to stop that shutting up or the closing up of our mouth. We cannot have one set of people talking. That's not their responsibility. You know, one of the things that I've learned as a pastor, sheep make sheep. Pastors don't make sheep. So a lot of time, the congregation members expect the pastor to go out there and witness. Why not Bibles? Sheep that make it sheep. We are the sheep. Go out there and take the message to the street, to your home. Do so in love. Do so with integrity. But stand for what is right. Stand for what is right. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. And let me just, I like to talk a little bit, you know. But let me just tell all of you, one of the first thing we have to do is repent.
That's right.
As a people, we need to repent and return to our Master. And you see the fight we're fighting now? He give it to us like that. The enemies will run. When Linton and Fountain is not after them, they'll be running because God is going to fight for us. You cannot tell me you're standing up for what is right and you're living an unholy life. We have to start in our own personal way to start living our holy life. And Mr. Fountain, God will give us the victory. Without all the fighting, without the CARICOM, without the OECS, we will get it because our God is our commander-in-chief. But if we don't live in it, we can just talk. Any question? Let me tell you a question. Come. Okay, just let me take this gentleman first, because you see, the youths are not there, but you are here. Okay, sir.
Let me take the opportunity to say good evening to the members of the head table, as well as all of you who turned up here tonight. It seems something is happening, but it's not happening maybe fast enough. If I have to go back to 1979, I was one of them too, who was usually on the mic. In 1979, when we decided enough is enough, and Dominicans turned up, Dominicans stood up. What is wrong with us today? What is going on with us today that we cannot stand up for ourselves? We cannot stand up to say, what you are doing there is not right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a job to do. And as was mentioned earlier, when we get back to our various constituency areas, let us work. And when the call comes, at least half of every constituency will be represented in Roseau. We're not going to leave it for the people from Guadeloupe or Martinique or wherever to come down to do it for us. Because some of them
those who say, regardless of reforms, elections. I can tell you we'll be listening attentively, and that's why we have those throughout the country. And at the end of the day, we will do what we have to do in the best interest of the people of Dominica.
Anybody more questions? If you have a question, come forward, please. If you have questions, please come forward. Come closer so they can come closer.
Good evening to the table. First of all, let me address that question of electoral reform. Skerrit is not going to give us electoral reform. As you heard JD say, all the Interpol and all those waiting for his resignation. So he's not going to give us electoral reform. So what we should do, we the people, we should take electoral reform. As the members of the head table and others said, we have the bodies in our court. But however, I'm very skeptical. I don't think the people will turn up. So what we have to know, if Skerrit calls the election, we have to participate in the election. And every one of us encourage 5 others to participate. Although they brought in 100 and something, Teacher Ernie still wins. Teacher Ernie still with them. Fathers, if we who are living in Dominica take part in the election and encourage our people to take part, there's no Skerrit can win. Now, Brother Kitch, talk about the 1979. The problem is people like Brother Kitch. I was on the other side of the table. I was a police officer. It's people like Brother Kitch and the others who were there. And as somebody said, looking at us, we are in our 60s, 70s, and 80s now. So we have to find some way. I'm not seeing anybody there 30 years now. We have to find some way to get the young people to turn out. It's they who are not turning out. Now, on the electoral reform about bringing down people to vote, as one of the callers say, the parties present their candidates. And we decide Ronald is the best candidate to lead the Casinos constituency at the time, so I'm going to vote for him. When they bring down people to vote, they make my vote, your vote, of non-effect. They nullify our vote, and we cannot just sit by and take that. You cannot tell me that I vote for Marian to represent me, and then you just bringing down people to make that vote of non-effect, and you're going back the following day. Finally, Haiti is part of CARICOM. You see what is happening in Haiti? The foreign minister of Barbados said he's not going to send his troops to Haiti because it's war there. It's not a peacekeeping mission, it's war. But they can, they can come to Salisbury and take that people because nobody can take that. So they believe. So they believe. But he afraid to send his troops to Barbados. Only Jamaica. Skerrit to send JJ with a troop bomb there. Like JJ did a squad in Haiti. Now, next time they come to Marigot, Salisbury, or whatever, St. Lucia had a band led by a guy called Wilson and the Tutuns. He said they would bring in journalists, the foreign journalists, and in the Sulphur Spring. Next time they come to Dominica, we should bring them to swim in the boiling lake.
That is, I guess, we want answer and we want change. That's what I want.
Thank you. Good night, also everybody. I think we are on Facebook. Okay. Everybody knows me as a as I said. Members of the table, Mr. Edison James, former Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm almost certain that every one of you in here are supporters of the United Workers' Party. So addressing you and speaking to you is like speaking to my soldiers. However, the issue facing Dominica today is not about the United Workers' Party. It's about a government that's in office, led by a prime minister who insists that he's going to stay in office for whatever. I'm speaking for myself. I've come to the conclusion that Roosevelt Skerrit has made up his mind he's not going to leave office without a fight. And the people of Dominica has to decide whether they take him on or not. That's a fact. We are a peaceful people, and he expects us to behave peacefully all the time, and we should behave peacefully. But when you have a situation, there's law, you have your guide, and the people say, do not come my property. But the person keep coming at your property. You have to defend yourself. Roosevelt Skerrit has been provoking the people of Dominica on the issue of electoral reform. That's what it is. And we, the people, must decide whether or not we're going to continue to accept the provocation or we're going to stand up to the provocation. Ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go in the world, everywhere you see the world, everybody has a television. When new issues come up, the people who come forward to fight the issues on the street are the people affected by the issues. Here in Dominica, we expect that the political leaders, those of us who are an executive, those who decide they are contesting election, that's we have to fight. But if I am going and contest election for you, you have to give me the support so that I can do what I need to do for you. And we are in the situation in Dominica right now. People are afraid to do what they need to do because of what? They are living in an apartment because the apartment is free. Their child might be going to school and might be getting $300 a day of school. But it's exactly what this Labour Party administration did. They take the money from your hands. I mean, try Castle Estate on a normal day. Come to Castle. See the amount of land, empty, nothing. Land are just there. It is intentional that the government took the income of the people from them so the people can depend on the government so that you cannot stand up to it. So you have to be prepared to make the sacrifice. You listen to me on Facebook, and some of these meetings here, you can't have it in this hall anymore. It has to be on the street. Let all the people hear you. This is the way it has to be. Because if they are not hearing you, I was coming up the road and asking some people if they know about the meeting. What they have done, they have taken most of the people, they put them in Westfield. I say in Westfield, in Sequoia. And therefore, the people there, many of them want to listen to you. Yes. But they're afraid. Somebody would like to come here. They're afraid. They're afraid if they're sure. The Roosevelt Skerrit administration, Roosevelt Skerrit and his cabinet and his clappers took over a meeting organized by the Business Forum at the CSC Center about a week ago. They took over the whole meeting. They basically hijacked the meeting. And Roosevelt Skerrit gave a speech, was practicing his delivery at the next 2 sittings of Parliament on this bill. Listen to it. And I'm betting with you that 90% of what is said at that meeting of the Business Forum sets psychology at Parliament when it comes to meeting the issue. Because he has made up his mind. He has made up his mind. I will not leave unless I see blood. Honestly, that's the only explanation I have. Because everywhere you can read the electoral reform, you don't even know there was electoral reform. Ladies and gentlemen, the law that is now before Parliament, they have the first reading. The most offensive thing in that legislation is this. Whereas they will not give us, if you have to do a complete registration in 4 months, Dominica's population, 60,000, 70,000, where you have about 40,000 people that are eligible to vote, maybe at 10 or 15% overseas. In Dominica, you can do a complete registration of the people within 3-4 months, 5 months for the vote. When you read the legislation that is before us right now, it's so complicated and it is so drawn out because what they want to do is the list they want to keep the list that we have now. And Dr. Thompson told me that they have just put on the new list. The legislation that is before Parliament says that after the legislation is passed and it becomes law, if an election is called, what becomes the list for the election is that the list that is now existing. In other words, the law is passed, the list that now exists becomes the list in the event of an election before the verification process is complete. This is why at the meeting that was held by the Business Forum, they spoke too long, so there are a lot of people like to ask questions, they can have a time for continuing to ask questions. But I specifically made the observation to Mr. Skerry and the Attorney General, what I'm just saying, that the legislation provides that if an election is called, even though you pass electoral reform legislation, when that legislation is passed, the effectiveness to call an election before the year passed, because the law says, hey, you have up to a year for you to do the reform. But the Prime Minister reserves his right to call an election once the legislation is passed. That is why they're all around the country. I am betting everything I have in my account somewhere, wherever it is. That I'm not serious. That once this legislation is passed, I expect another election within 2 or 3 months after that. Because he knows it's the only list he has to is going to use. And he's going to bring his people from overseas. Dominicans, are we going to continue to accept that? Are we going to continue to accept that? The question that you are putting before the leadership of the United Party right now, are you going to contest election if without electoral reform? Is we have to ask ourselves this question. Are we going to accept another election if electoral reform is not acceptable? If the election is called in the same first list? So what is going to happen in police dictatorship? Nothing wrong with police dictatorship. So police dictatorship then? I'm serious. This thing has gone too far. The gentleman Mr. Skerry is provoking the people of Dominica, and the people of Dominica must decide whether or not to accept that provocation or not. So let the executive of the Democratic Party plan what they're going to do. But we, the people, must plan that no electoral reform, no genuine electoral reform, no calm election in Dominica.
And you heard it from a customer's man. You heard it.
Good evening to the people of Castle Bruce, of course, a good evening to political leader, Mr. James, the president, and of course our caretaker, Teacher Eddie. It's always nice to be here. Now I heard this evening, I've been hearing the discussion. One thing about life that we must appreciate is independence. And you see, they say to us this evening that the people that are here tonight are independent. And you see, one thing scared free is independent people. And that is why, over the past years, he has been germinating the process that has been properly planted today. And to root it out, we need some old school farmers with some big forks. Big people to root out what has been planted for years. Our young people are not here today because we don't have the factories so that they could be busy. Our young people are not here today because all of them are promised scholarships. And sometimes we ourselves as parents, when the ministers promise us those scholarships, we keep that in our back pocket hot like hot bread. Because we want to keep promising empty promises and promoting empty promises. But we fail to understand that independence is what the country needs. This is why I say to you, and Mr. Baptist said it a little bit better than me, because architectural engineer seems to have good ways of analyzing things. He said it a little bit better. But what we really need here is that we need Dominicans to understand that not just enough is enough with our our people now to stand up and say the next generation deserves better. And when you come to Roseau, wherever it is, and let me tell you, when we come to stand up for our rights, we're not coming to make no war. But when we're standing, we're not only standing in Roseau, every constituency people will be standing for your rights. Because when you let the same bus go into Roseau, it causes traffic congestion. You need to stop it before it goes further than that. You need to do it in a nice way, like a police officer. Please don't go. No violence. Please don't go. No violence. Because this is important. We have a system in Dominica where our people now defray everything. You know why? Because our people now have learned something called a promise. You see, the lady spoke about it at Kingston playing field, the same thing. In Trafalgar, Mr. McIntyre promised some young people apartments. The apartments has been there since in 2017. In 2 years, the same apartment is being promised, and a new 12 young person are promised that apartment again. And sadly, now say for the record, there were people who were waiting for the apartments in Trafalgar, and they are no longer with us. What that means? You see that? But that is the reality of this country. Our young people don't get the kind of motivation they need to be able to start, because their independence is being taken away from them. I know it's a little late, but I like Gasper's, you know. I like Gasper's because I know that it will start in Gasper's. And when the Gasper's people stand, Dominicans stand. And I want to thank you for encouraging me, because it's not easy. I started this thing almost 20-something, 30-something years ago. Mukatabe blows, all over you come. And this thing about, oh well, the reason why you can't progress because you're with them fellas, you know. Because there's a myth that you can't do it on your own. But I stand still today. I'm alright. I don't need to be able to sell passport. All I need is good people that understand their fundamental rights. Okay, so I know it's a little bit late, and I don't want to stay too long, but thank you for having me. And we have to continue to do what we do here this evening across Dominica. Thank you so much for all of you for being here. And may God continue to bless you. Thank you.
Alright, so we are going to cut up about 9 o'clock, sir? At 9. Okay, so you take so and blessing. Blessing, right? Okay, so we're going to keep it up.
Yes, good day. Good evening, everyone. At table, respect to you all. Our Prime Minister, I know you brought this country from crisis to recovery, and we respect. You know, oftentimes we hear and probably even make excuses for young people. But it is very interesting that when young people get aggressive at their homes, they disrespect their parents. They quick to respond, especially when their parents are guiding them. What probably they should choose good over bad. They're ready to kiss. Our government has nothing to do with you. We not appreciate the skill set amongst us to even offer an opportunity to earn. Yet you respect the government, you disrespect your parents. We talk about the playbook that has been over and over been played open every time there is an election intention. But there's nothing but Dominicans. How can you tell me we are not accustomed to know that the government is saying that I'm going to build an apartment? Who builds the apartment? Not even Dominicans. Raw materials being procured? Not in Dominica. So in essence, it's nothing for us. So whether they survey, they identify a piece of land that they survey, and they have intention to do, it is not in the interest of Dominicans. The materials are not bought here. The local private sector people, they have to suffer. They are playing a part with respect to employment, even for the very young people, but the government will not give them the opportunity to be part of the procurement contract so that they can import the material for the same building. The doorknob is important. The screws, the nail, the galvanized, the water heaters, the doors, the windows, the tiles, the tile cement, everything. And you're telling me the playbook again is on, and that should be a strategy. When our strategy should be we should be all ready to remove this government. That is our strategy against your strategy. So Dominicans, let me say to you all, that all of us, we are fed up people. And I will also, commend Mr. James for inspiring me with his words. It is better to Georgia than war. But there comes a time when you have been pushed to a level, you might have to resort to something else. But I will say, I admire the resilience of our people. But you see what is being orchestrated against the people of Dominica, where you are using the electoral system and weaponize that against the people, that cannot work. Because this is the same thing that causes poverty to thrive, that causes high level of unemployment, and causes all of the ailments in our society, even causing more than 50% unemployment for the youth. So young people, you already have the calendar for carnival. You know when it's jump off day. Some of you plan to which band you're going to join. You should also plan to stabilize your future after the jump off. You should also plan to ensure that you get employed after the jump off. How do you do that? Is plan to remove this government.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Blessings, I want me to bring it to you.
Hey, blessings to you all. Hey, trust me, I really love that it's on the radio, and I'm coming here not to be known, not to be heard or anything, but I want others to listen. How can you listen and I don't want to be heard? But just quickly, if you have an you are in an abusive relationship, and you put in terms and conditions before you leave that relationship, you will be dead. Before you leave, they have to carry you. So electoral reform is not that complicated. The honorable gentleman, in the interest of time, I do not acknowledge all and blessings to you all. I am saying electoral reform will not be given like my family said it. It has to be taken because you have a cluster of criminals in office by any means necessary wanting to remain there. Sheriff went to Marcus and he said that he went in, what he said, 2050. He said Dimitri is not even to the age of maturity and they want to remove me, or you forget Gigi man. Anyway, all that is not here. But I am just saying, people, electoral reform, Mr. Linton keeps saying it, voting have consequences, or election have consequences. According to a relationship you go with a man or woman, according to the character you put yourself with, is either you get plenty blows or you get plenty love. So it is in parallel, side by side, similar to who you vote and who you don't want to vote. So you do your story according to so-so, you sow your sense, you know which band you win, you give them your money already in advance. So know that I cannot tell the politicians what to do, having to do with participating or not. But trust me, I am rough around the edges and I can get nasty. Praise God I'm still alive because I've been through hell and back many times. So scary than them can scare me. So I am just saying, please people, understand the whole process. Understand governance. Take some time out. You have a little leaflet going around. Ask questions. It is healthy to ask questions pertaining or relating to electoral reform, governance, the economy. These are basic things. A lot of us know more about the phone than we know about our country. That's sincere.
Anybody? One last question. Anybody from the constituency else want to ask a question? I'll just give it now. I think it's in our constituents. Anybody else? Okay, after you to give you 2 minutes, I have one person else from our constituency.
Well, what I will do is to announce a big meeting that is coming up on the 13th in St. Joseph. St. Joseph is not a town hall meeting like this. It's going to be a public, massive meeting. We are going to go around the West Coast. We're going to bring equip everybody down in St. Joseph. So I am asking the people of Castle to come down with a bus load. Come and support the people of St. Joseph, because that is where the togetherness is going to start in St. Joseph. We're going to send a clear message to the government of Dominica. I heard the sister said that we have to repent in order for God to fight our battle for us. But let me tell you something. So you try to tell me that we in the Logos Party, we don't repent. We repent. What we have to do is to come together. Because when Joshua was bringing the children to the promised land, there was a big wall in front of them, which was the wall of Jericho. There is nowhere they could have go for that wall. But they decided to ask Jesus to go for that wall with them. And did you know what Jesus told them? You have to come together and march around the walls of Jericho 7 times. And I will take them this wall from you. So the only way we can take them root by story, which is a Jericho in front of us, is coming together and marching in Dominica. And that's what we're going to do.
So we repent and we come together. Last question. So you want to come quickly? Come quickly because we can't hear you. The people need to hear you.
It doesn't matter, come. It doesn't matter.
Even before what they want something, they want to stay away. The Labour Party do their stuff. We have to go with the flow too. We cannot listen. We have to go with the flow. Number two, when are you going to start campaign?
That's right.
I want to know when you're not when you're going to scary state you're going to campaign.
I'm calling it campaign.
No, you have to start now. You have to start now.
So you want to So he wants to know what is the party going to do about fundraising and funds.
Okay, let me assure you that we are working really, really hard at ensuring that we will have necessary funds for our campaign. And the campaign is up. We are working within our constituencies. We have to, of course, do a lot more. The meeting tonight is part of that campaign. We'll be in Marigot on the next week. St. Joseph on the 13th and Marigot on the 18th. Right. Marigot on the 18th, and beyond that we'll be announcing all the constituencies around. In the meantime, our caretakers are meeting people one-on-one. We are doing what we have to do. Okay, but as I think it was Marion who said this, you all as well have to help us. We can only do so much. I can probably reach 10 houses a day, but if 10 of you do the same thing as I do, we can probably reach 100 houses. Okay, so we have to join together and work together. This battle is not just about us in leadership, it's about all of us working together. And I can guarantee you, if we work and we put our strength together, we do the campaign together, we talk to our neighbors together, we will ensure our victory. Alright, so let's continue to do that. God bless you.
And on that note, we end this. So let's come back here to say, the discussion is so interesting, very interesting. Pity we can't go longer because people came from far and time is limited. But I want to say I am motivated tonight. I am motivated because I believe each person here this evening is going to reach at least 5 others. And you're going to take these 5 others under your wing, and you're going to pass on the information that you got here tonight so that you can bring these 5 people on board. So this is going to motivate me. It is going to motivate me. Believe me. So I hope what you got this evening, it was interesting, it was, you feel light, you feel more better able to reach out to your fellow community members. Let me thank the head table. I will thank the leader, the president, the caretakers who are here, Mr. Lugay, Mr. George, Mr. Charles, Mr. Coffee. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Mr. James. Yeah, Mr. James is here. Sorry, Mr. James. How good I am. I want to thank all of you for coming. I also
We have a country to save. Let us not sit back. If we were in slumber, after tonight, we should be up. Right. We should be up and alive and ready to take back our country. So I encourage all of us here, let us keep the momentum, let us move out, get others on board, keep the conversation going, speak to each other, wake up each other, so that all of us can join the fight to save that country, not only for ourselves, but for our children and